For NATO ISAF right now, the most important process is transition. And transition means giving the responsibility for security for the whole of Afghanistan from the coalition forces, from ISAF, onto the Afghan National Security Forces, which is Afghan soldiers and Afghan police. So our primary objective as NATO is to enable the Afghan authorities to provide effective security and to ensure that country can never again become a safe haven for international terrorism. The way that we do it and that we'll continue to do it is shona on shona, shoulder to shoulder, standing with our Afghan friends, no matter the insider threat attacks, which unfortunately have damaged the trust and have instilled doubt both in Afghan audiences and in international audiences. Nevertheless, we will remain committed, and in 2014, when the current mission ends, we will not leave Afghanistan, we will not abandon Afghanistan. Afghanistan by that time will be standing on its own feet, but it will not be standing alone, because we will continue to stand together with Afghanistan for a decade of transformation. So currently in the transition process, the ANSF is about 350,000 soldiers strong, in comparison, soldiers and police, in comparison to 120,000 coalition forces. Afghans already lead 80% of operations. They are in charge of about 76% of the security of 76% of the entire population of Afghanistan. They conduct about 90% of all training. So it's obvious that we have achieved so many palpable results in building the Afghan national security forces that have to provide for the security of Afghanistan. Also, the number of attacks, of enemy-initiated attacks have decreased, especially in the areas that were transitioned to Afghan lead through the so-called trenches. We're currently in trench number 3, and once the trench number 4 and trench number 5 have been completed by mid-2013, so mid-next year, Afghans will be in charge of the security, primarily in charge of the security for the whole of Afghanistan. But then it will take us another year and a half to complete the process so that Afghans are in complete lead of the security for Afghanistan. And then we will continue with a different mandate, with a different operation. We don't have the name for the operation yet, but it will not be a combat operation for the coalition troops. It will be mentoring, it will be training, it will be, as I said, continuing to stand shoulder by shoulder with our Afghan friends and partners. Now I would like to move to another aspect of what NATO does. I'm sorry. Because NATO is not just a political and military organization. NATO is also an alliance of values. An alliance that upholds the values of democracy, of human rights, civil rights, liberty, freedom of choice. When I talk about Afghanistan around the world, a lot of people tell me, it's not really our business to interfere with their culture. But this isn't what we're doing. We believe that every single individual on this planet has the right to the same rights that we have, that are embedded in universal conventions, in the UN conventions and other conventions of human rights. And that it's our business to demonstrate that to the Afghan publics, to get the information in, to let you know what the opportunities are, and then for you to decide what the future of your country will look like. However, as we look towards the end of transition and the decade of transformation, the one thing that the Allies will be insisting upon is the full implementation of the Constitution of Afghanistan, the full implementation of respect for human rights, including the rights of women. In that area, we have achieved a lot, but there's still so much to be done. And that is perhaps one of the subjects that will be discussed during the forum here as well. And about the current situation in Afghanistan and how to improve it, and how we can stand by every single Afghan citizen in realizing their full potential and human rights. And the responsibility of leadership, of you as young leaders, is to carry the message back and to let the people know that they do have that choice, and that the aspects of democracy, the point of democracy, is to give you an opportunity to realize all those rights that are not just political, but that are social, educational, the right to health care, etc. Just recently, we held a conference in Dubai where we invited a number of international representatives, but also there was a group of very intelligent representatives of different NGO communities from Afghanistan, including Asian Society, for instance. Unfortunately, the government representatives could not join us for that conference, but we will have a follow-up conference in Kabul as well. What encouraged me very much were the findings by Asian Society that were published that demonstrate that more and more people trust, for instance, the ANSF, that over 85–86% of people in Afghanistan trust in their own ability to defend themselves. But also, one of the key findings is that not just more and more people go to school, but that people in Afghanistan realize that education is one of the primary concerns, one of the primary topics that the country has to focus on and focus upon. And we had very lively discussions and debates. And whenever I visit, I always visit universities. I went to the University of Kabul, for instance, and had a roundtable with students there. And what encourages me is the initiative that they're taking, the questions that they were asking, the doubts that they expressed, the challenges that they put before me in order to answer their questions and answer their concerns, but also the fact that they look at Afghanistan as the country of their future, as opposed to any kind of ethnic or local background. I think that is very encouraging. And I believe that in Afghanistan, our partnership between Afghans and ourselves will lead towards a better future for the Afghan people, a future of security, stability, and development, of access to education and healthcare, economic opportunity, and the assurance of rights and freedoms. The task is nowhere complete yet, but Afghanistan's self-reliance grows stronger each day, and I strongly believe in that future. And just to close these remarks, I would like to tell you that upon my last visit to Afghanistan in June of this year, one of the sites, one of the pictures, the images that will always stick with me, and that I liked so much was 3 children on the way to school. There were 2 boys and a girl, maybe 9–10 years old. They were holding hands and laughing. They were walking the dusty streets of Kabul towards the school. And in a country where, up until recently, any display of affection publicly was almost forbidden, to see those kids holding hands and the girl's little white scarf waving in the wind, for me, was a window into the future of Afghanistan. A new Afghanistan that will provide those educational opportunities in order for children to be able to go to school, to be able to provide for themselves, for their living, but also to provide for the future of Afghanistan. And now, in closing, I would like to quote, I hope I will pronounce it right, Indari again, a proverb that we often quote when we talk about Silk Afghanistan project, whereby we provide those internet access opportunities. And it is Katra, Katra, Darya, Nesha. Drop by drop, it becomes a river. And I think this is what we're doing here today, building the young leaders, giving you opportunities, but also asking you to hold us responsible as well, to work together with you towards a better Afghanistan. Thank you very much.